Welcome to Gratefully Gifted, a podcast for gifted kids made by gifted kids because we do think it's great to be gifted. On today's episode, we will interview Mr. Andy Brown, who is a live actor at the Sight and Sound Theater. We will learn more about Andy Brown, so let's get started. First, some fun. Since today's episode is all about live acting, I thought I would start with some jokes and interesting facts. Why did the actor break their arm? Because they wanted to be in a cast. Here's an interesting fact. Why do people even say when you're about to perform, go break a leg? Because it means if they broke their leg, they would be in a cast, like the plays cast.
Oh.
You know, the saddest thing about Dwayne Johnson's success as a movie actor is how he's completely forgotten his brothers who got him there. Paper and scissors. Speaking of movie actors, have you watched Mr. Bean shows? The actor's name is Rowan Atkinson, and according to HistoryThings.com, he had an IQ of 178. So even though he was always acting silly, and that is really smart. What's the difference between a president and an actor? One leads the land, and the other lands the lead. And did you know that one of our presidents was first an actor? Ronald Reagan, our 40th president, was an actor in Hollywood before he became a president. Well, I hope you laughed a little and learned a little too.
Today, we have with us Mr. Andy Brown. He is an actor on a live stage for Sight and Sound Theater. Welcome to our podcast, Mr. Brown.
Well, thank you. It's awesome to get to be here.
What shows have you been in?
Well, I've been performing in the Branson area for a little over 20 years, but I've been at Sight and Sound for the last almost 15 years. So I've done just about everything that they've had on their stage. I've also performed in other places here in town, but I've started out working on the East Coast. I grew up in Buffalo, New York, worked out there for a number of years, worked in Washington, D.C., Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and eventually found my way out here to Branson, where this is my home now.
Who are you playing right now?
Right now, I am in the show Esther, and my primary character is a guy called Amir, but I'm also the understudy for Mordecai.
How long do you have to memorize your lines before a new show?
They do a great job of giving us the scripts ahead of time before rehearsals have to begin. And usually we get that script, I would say about 6 weeks before rehearsals start. So yeah, about 6 weeks we have to start memorizing. It's nice to go into rehearsals already knowing our lines. It just makes the rehearsal process a lot easier.
How do you memorize your lines?
Yes, repetition, and one more thing. Oh yeah, repetition. It's just about doing it over and over. For me, the more I can just go over and over and just make the line, so that I don't even have to think about it. It's just what naturally comes out when a cue line is given. So yeah, I would also say always start at the beginning of the show and work your way to the end of the show. Some actors like to kind of skip around scene to scene. I prefer just having it in the order of the show. I find it just makes it a lot easier to piece everything together that way.
What does being an understudy mean?
Well, at Sight and Sound, we have everyone has a primary role, a role that is their main role that they will do every single day. But then they also have understudy roles or even backup roles that they will study someone else's primary role and know that, so that if they get sick or need time away from the theater or whatever, the show can go on and that person will then jump into that role and perform it. So every role at Sight and Sound is cast 3 deep with a primary understudy and a backup, so that at any time there's 3 people that know any given role. So there's a lot of jumping around throughout the week, and you never know when you come into work what role you're going to be playing that day. So you have to be prepared for all of those different roles.
Do you ever get tired of doing the same thing?
Well, sometimes, I will be honest, yes. I think just about any job in life is about repetition. If you're a dental hygienist, you're going to be cleaning teeth, and I'm sure there's a day you're like, I don't want to clean these teeth anymore. I'm sure even your teacher from time to time is like, I don't want to teach this lesson anymore. But we do, because it's our job and it's what we love to do. So even though some days are harder than others and we don't feel like doing it, I love doing what I do, and you just buckle up and keep going.
I have some questions about performing in front of a live audience. First of all, do you ever have stage fright?
I don't anymore, but I definitely used to when I was closer to your age. Yeah, getting up in front of people, in front of a whole room of people I didn't even know, and having to say lines or sing a song. It was very, very nerve-wracking. Now that I've been doing this most of my life, I don't always get stage fright. An opening night, first time you've ever performed something, there might be some nerves, but full-on stage fright, not really anymore. It's just kind of what I do now.
Do you have any tricks to help with stage fright?
Absolutely. A lot of times, actors will say, oh, did you see so-and-so out there in the audience? And my honest answer is no, I never look out at the audience. We do it, the types of shows we do don't require a whole lot of breaking the fourth wall, which is, acknowledging that the audience is there. So I can just kind of shut the audience out, live in the world that's on stage, and not even really think about an audience being out there. It kind of helps me to not realize, oh my goodness, there's thousands of people looking at me right now. And that, I think that definitely helps, is if you can just kind of block out and not see the people out there, it helps.
How do you stop from sneezing on stage?
Oh, I don't. If I have to sneeze or if I have to cough, even if I have a line, it's totally natural. People naturally cough and sneeze, and you just make it part of the thing. And, sometimes if someone next to me coughs or sneezes, you tell them, well, God bless you, or, Gesundheit or whatever, and kind of keep going. You try not to, but if you have to, just go for it. It's okay.
How do people fly in the show?
Well, we have a lot of flying in some of our shows, not in Esther, but we have a whole flight rig. There's 3 different rigs that can fly people, and they'll wear a harness around their waist that straps in really tight so that it's not going anywhere, and then they'll hook up cables that are strong enough to lift a car to you, and then they'll just lift you up off the ground. It's very safe, but there's a lot of safety checks that go along with it to make sure everything is operating properly. But yeah, you can fly all across the stage and even up and down the center aisle of the theater.
That sounds really cool. Do you interact with any animals during your show?
Of course I do. Yes, we have lots of animal friends at Sight and Sound. And the ones I get to interact with the most often are some of our horses. I get to ride them. I also get to work with some of our mini horses. They're like little tiny horses. They're so small. They kind of look like a dog. They're so small. My favorite one is Bonnie. She's my favorite mini horse. But I've also gotten to work with the donkeys and the llamas and sheep and you name it. I've gotten to work with them.
That's so cool. What do you do if they are difficult and don't want to do what they're supposed to do?
We have the same problem with actors sometimes. The best thing we can do with the animal is love on them. And if they don't want to go out there, we try to just say, that's okay. We're just going to cut this animal today, unless it's an animal that is integral to the plot. Then we have lots of animal trainers and handlers backstage that can help with some of the training and the coaching. The animals work just as hard as the human actors out there. That they are in rehearsals for months and months and months before they ever hit our stage, and they get lots of treats to help encourage them to do what the trainers are wanting them to do. But sometimes, they don't feel like it, and just like the human actors, they also have understudies that can kind of fill in for some of those roles.
Are the weapons you use on stage real?
Well, they are real weapons, but they are not sharp. They are very dull. So if you were to get hit with one of them, it won't cut you, but it could hurt you. But we have lots of practice sessions where we choreograph our fights so that it looks real, but nobody's actually hurting one another. We'll even do a fight call before the show where people that are going to be involved in the fights can practice so that it's fresh in their mind how the fight is supposed to go, just trying to keep everyone safe, even though we are using weapons.
That sounds very safe.
What advice would you give kids or adults that want to get into acting?
Absolutely. I think acting is a discipline. The more you practice it, the more you study it, the better you will get. I would say for young people and for adults as well, watch movies, watch other actors, see what you like, what hits, your emotions and all of that, and try to start by trying to emulate what you see other actors that you like do. I would also say get involved in dance class. I know that seems weird for acting, but dance helps you to understand how your body works so that you can clearly communicate with your body on stage. It's not always just the words you say, but it's also how your body language is telling the story as well. I would also recommend singing lessons because that helps you to master some technique with your voice on how to project, enunciate, so that you can be clear on stage, even just for regular acting that doesn't involve singing. I still think it can help. But I would say more than anything, try out, audition, go, if you really want to do it, go see what you can do and just keep trying.
Thank you for talking with us today.
Absolutely, it was my pleasure.
Hello, I am Lucan with I'm Bored, Now What? Whenever you have stage fright, you should focus on the material of the show. You should focus on, actually acting, and you shouldn't focus on the audience. Definitely don't focus on the audience. And here are some fun facts on live entertainment and acting. Many people think that acting will be easy, and they can just try it and they'll be good at it immediately. But acting requires real dedication and talent to do. Many people that want an acting career often don't succeed because they don't have what it takes.
Well, that's all for today. We hope you enjoyed this episode and learned some things that you didn't already know. We appreciate your support, and if you would like to reach out to us on other topic ideas, just email us at gratefully.gifted, that is with no spaces, at branson.k12.mo.us. All feel grateful to be gifted, and we hope you do as well, because being gifted is great.